Despite ongoing negotiations for a coalition government between Turkey's ruling and main opposition parties, the discourse and attitude of the politicians suggest an early election seems to be more probable. In interviews published in two pro-government dailies on Thursday, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, leader of the main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP, revealed that he considers an early election more probable than the formation of a coalition government. "As I see it, the probability of an early election is higher," the Yeni Şafak daily quoted the CHP leader as saying. Kılıçdaroğlu elaborated, saying, "There are some steps taken in goodwill for a coalition, but that has some difficulties when viewed realistically." Following a first round of visits that the ruling party leader, Ahmet Davutoğlu, paid last week to leaders of all the three opposition parties represented in parliament, the CHP has emerged as almost the only possible coalition partner for the Justice and Development Party, AK Party. In an interview with the Sabah Daily, the CHP leader said, "An early election is still a strong possibility." Following Davutoğlu's preliminary visit for coalition talks, the leaders of the two other parties, the Nationalist Movement Party, MHP, and the pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party, HDP, both encouraged the AK party to try to forge a coalition with the CHP while displaying not much willingness to be a partner in a coalition. Although expressing willingness on the part of the CHP to forge a coalition with the AK party, the CHP leader drew attention to the difficulties in hammering out a coalition, noting that the two parties have almost entirely different worldviews. The secular CHP, which has harshly criticized the AK party during its almost 13-year rule, is the main rival of the AK party, which serves as the interim government. The interviews reveal that Kılıçdaroğlu is neither optimistic nor totally pessimistic. He said in the Sabah interview, "It is too early to be hopeful or hopeless. We are considering it with political realism." In the general election on June 7, in which the AK party lost its parliamentary majority for the first time since coming to power in 2002, no single party got enough votes to form a government. MHP leader Devlet Bahçeli, whose attitude since the election suggested that the MHP would favor an early election instead of pushing for a coalition, began on Wednesday touring provinces in central Anatolia in an apparent move to get ready for an early election. Bahçeli, who met with party officials in Kırıkkale and Kırıkkale on the first day of the tour, is scheduled to visit Nevşehir, Aksaray, and Niğde on Thursday. During his visit to Kırıkkale, Bahçeli told reporters, "We are not afraid of an early election. We have made a start on campaigning from Kırıkkale today as if snap polls will be held immediately." During the meetings, Bahçeli, accompanied by some of his party's top brass, was reported to have instructed the party's local officials to get ready for an early election. The provinces in central Anatolia are seen by the MHP as the symbol of the party's rise because the MHP managed to take away one seat from the AK party in most of these provinces in the general election. After meeting with Bahçeli, Davutoğlu, who is also the acting prime minister, said the MHP did not want to be part of a coalition government. Deniz Baykal, a heavyweight CHP deputy who formerly headed the party, has maintained that the AK party is just involved in the coalition talks for the sake of appearances. In remarks to reporters in Antalya on Thursday, Baykal said, "The MHP has already made clear its attitude regarding a coalition. That is, coalition talks represent no more than show any longer. There will be an early election in November. As per the Constitution, the President can call for an early election if a government cannot be formed within 45 days after the election of all members of the Speaker's Council of Parliament." The 18-member Speaker's Council was formed on July 9, immediately after which President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan gave Davutoğlu the mandate to form the government. Not much progress seems to have been achieved so far in the coalition talks between the two parties. The two sides are still in the stage of preliminary talks ahead of genuine bargaining. In the latest meeting on Tuesday between representatives of the two parties, topics such as the principles on which a coalition government would be based, the topics to be dealt with by the delegations in the talks and the place where the negotiations will be held were discussed. AK party open to reconciliation. Veysel Eroğlu, Minister of Forestry and Water Affairs, has called on the CHP and the MHP not to close their doors to a coalition option, saying the AK party sees an early election as a last resort. Arguing that the MHP has not closed its doors to a coalition, Eroğlu told reporters on Thursday, "Our doors are open to the CHP and the MHP. The HDP itself closed the door. We will continue to talk with both the CHP and the MHP." Eroğlu said the AK party is open to reconciliation given the country's urgent need for a government. The pro-government Star Daily said in a report on Thursday that if efforts for a coalition fail, an AK party minority government could be possible until an early election should 40 deputies not attend the parliament's session for a vote of confidence for the government. For a government to be said to have failed to get a vote of confidence in parliament, an absolute majority of all the deputies, which means 276 no votes, is needed. In the 550-seat parliament, the AK party and the CHP have 258 and 131 deputies, respectively, while the MHP and the HDP each has 80 deputies. There is also an independent deputy who recently resigned from the CHP. A request for a vote of confidence shall be rejected only by an absolute majority of the total number of members, the Constitution says. The MHP previously announced that it would not support an AK party minority government. The report argued that in this manner, an AK party minority government could be possible without the MHP's active support, as the opposition would not be able to collect 276 no votes needed. Such an option will eliminate the possibility of a government to be composed of all parties represented in parliament, that is, including the pro-Kurdish HDP. The MHP made it clear earlier that it would in no way be part of a coalition government in which the HDP would also be a partner. The MHP accuses the HDP of being affiliated with the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, which Turkey, the US and the EU recognize as a terrorist organization. The AK party's Davutoğlu has several times revealed that the AK party does not see the HDP as a potential coalition partner. Ahead of the election in June, the HDP had said it would not be part of a coalition with the AK party, which accused the HDP of not distancing itself from the PKK. Haluk Koc, CHP deputy chairman who has been conducting as the party's representative preliminary coalition talks with AK party's Ömer Çelik, Minister of Culture and Tourism, said on Tuesday it will be clear within 10 to 12 days whether their efforts to forge a coalition will be fruitful.